In Indonesia, there are around 8 million children stunted, which means that their bodies are too small and their brains are underdeveloped, and this is irreversible. So we thought, what if we can develop a water filter that can empower the lower income rural mothers to purify their water and make it safe to drink.
Hi Lisa, welcome to Shiko.
Hi Shreya, thanks very much for having me. Really excited about this call.
Me too. Very excited for this conversation, especially more so because I was in Bali about 6 weeks ago and I went to an organic store in Ubud and I saw a couple of different products of Nazava on the rack. And I looked at my partner and I was like, I'm going to be speaking with Lisa very soon. So it was very exciting for me to see the product live.
Wow, oh, that's so cool.
So, Lisa, can you share a bit more about yourself?
Yes, sure. So my full name is Lieselotte Heederik. I come from the Netherlands, but let's make life easier and just call me Lisa. And I came to Indonesia in 2007 to do relief aid after the tsunami in Banda Aceh. And the house where I was living did not have a connection to municipal water. We did not have a piped connection. And the water in our house was coming from a well in our yard. And that water was contaminated. So I was looking for a water filter to purify our water. But I found none. And then my husband was traveling in Brazil and he took some filters back home, which we just installed for our own use in 2 buckets. It was a gravity system, an upper bucket for the dirty water from our well, and then gravity would push through the ceramic filter, and then we would have the lower container with safe water. And soon our friends and neighbors that were visiting us said like, yeah, but my water is also dirty. I also don't have a piped connection. I also want a filter. And then we realized that in Indonesia, nobody has safe drinking water from their tap. Even the households that have tap water need to boil that water, as the pipes are leaking and not maintained, so they get contaminated with groundwater. So basically, all the water is dirty. And we are coming from the Netherlands, where we are super spoiled. We're even flushing our toilets with mineral drinking water. And when I realized that in Indonesia, nobody has safe water from the tap, I also realized that it are the lower income rural mothers that suffer the most from the lack of safe drinking water. Because they have to spend a lot of time to collect the wood, to boil their water. Then they have to spend a lot of time to make the fire, wait until the water boils, wait until the water is cooling down. And still they see their children suffer from diarrhea. In Indonesia, there are around 8 million children stunted, which means that their bodies are too small and their brains are underdeveloped, and this is irreversible. So we thought, what if we can develop a water filter that can empower the lower income rural mothers to purify their water and make it safe to drink? So that is when in 2009, Nazava was found. And Nazava means clean in Arabic.
Thank you for sharing that, Lisa. It's been a very interesting journey, you being a Netherlander and then being in Indonesia. What keeps you committed despite some of the obstacles that you may have experienced while you're new in the country? Maybe the language is new as well, and this new concept was born.
Yeah, I think there are different layers to the why. Like this has been like how you were raised, like your background. So actually, I come from a background of engineers. Like my father, he was a hydrologist. He was working on irrigation. I grew up in Kenya, Bolivia, and Yemen. My grandfather, he was also an engineer. Actually, his company installed like water treatment plants in the Netherlands. So I grew up with a lot of water irrigation stuff, and I grew up in different countries as well. I studied development sociology, so I had already a big commitment that I wanted to contribute something to the world. But then when I came to Aceh, which was basically like my first job, and I was dealing with all the development money that was coming in, there was a lot of spending pressure. And I felt like I had to organize workshops in more expensive hotels just to, empty the budget. And I really lacked like tangible results on the ground. And we thought like, okay, if we would be selling a water filter, we really wanted people to buy for it to ensure ownership and sustainability. So we thought if we are selling this, the cash flow will tell if our product really is in need or not, if we have like identified the right problem or not. So I think that really kept me going, like that I really wanted to have like a tangible, practical solution to the problems that our planet is facing and our people are facing. Yeah. And yeah, I just wanted to develop a concrete solution, but it is also not really from that I grew up becoming with the idea that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never really envisioned myself being an entrepreneur. So that, from one step comes another step and comes another step. And all of a sudden, you are an entrepreneur and you have a business and you have investors and shareholders and you have a huge customer base and your product is in shops in Bali. So, but these things don't happen overnight. But yeah, I think the why really comes from the desire to contribute to a better planet and to healthier people. And I think I've gotten that from the way I was brought up as well.
So, Lisa, you mentioned that your husband was in Brazil, you found certain filters, you've been using that. How did you go from concept to creating a product? There must be a new journey because you said that you didn't envision yourself being an entrepreneur and suddenly you're manufacturing a product.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, that also didn't happen overnight. So when we started, we really wanted to impact the lower income households. And we thought, okay, they don't have money. The product has to be cheap. These people are poor. So we looked for the most cheap bucket that we could find on the market, which was basically really ugly because it was cheap. And we did put our filters in there. And then we rented a very small shop house in Banda Aceh. And we also then imported the other filter housing, but we didn't trust the filter element that was inside. So we took out the filter element, but these products looked a bit nicer. And we would put in our own filter element that was tested and that we trusted. So in our showroom, we had like from really cheap products to more fancier and more expensive products. And if you recall, the cheapest product costed $10, and then our fancier products were around $30. And when the women were coming into our shop, they were just ignoring this cheaper product. And they always immediately asked, how much does this cost? I want this product. It looks good. And that's when we realized that also lower income households, they want to have dignity and they want to have a product that gives them pride. Yes, they may lack the funds to pay product upfront, but to ensure that they take pride in a product and that they're using it day to day, they better like the products, right? So then we realized, okay, these cheaper products, they were working very well with NGOs that want to have a lot of impact per dollar. And maybe the long-term use case of a product of a filter after a flood or an earthquake maybe is not that important. But we really are in it for the long time. And we really want to ensure that our product is being used 10 years, 20 years, and really becomes part of a household's use. So that's when we started to work with the Department of Industrial Design at Delft University in the Netherlands. And they helped us design this product that you see here behind me, which looks much fancier. It comes in different colors. It's not just two buckets on top of each other. And then we started with a blue filter, but then our moms, they were asking if we could make it in pink and mint as well. So then we also launched different colors, but still our moms in the country couldn't pay the product because it costs only $30, but it's still a lot if you are depending on your coffee farm or just your rice farm. So that's when we started to partner with microfinance institutes that are already borrowing money to women groups. And through these partnerships, we are now able to market our product directly to low-income rural mothers that are organized through women groups. and they can sign up through a loan with the microfinance institute, and then they can purchase our product. They get the product directly, but they repay the loan in a period of 6 to 12 months. So that's through partnerships with universities for the design, and then partnerships with MFIs that have like the same mission to uplift people out of poverty. That has helped us now to reach the target market that we really want to impact.
Lisa, this was a new product in the market when you first launched it for the lower income families, for some of the people that you said that people came, they saw it and they wanted it. So, were there any challenges when it comes to educating the communities and also changing mindsets? Because how do you tell them that this is broken, what you're doing on a day to day basis, and this needs to be fixed?
Yeah, that's a huge challenge because, yeah, I don't want to be biased or have too much prejudice, but many of the communities that we want to serve, they haven't had like the best education in the world. So their awareness about water quality, E. coli bacteria, all this sort of technical stuff, their awareness is rather low on the scientific reasons why people get ill because of dirty water. So indeed, we had to spend a lot of time in customer education, but we have figured out a way that's called the problem-based sales approach. So every time we visit a women's group, we basically talk about where people get their water, how they know their water is safe, how are they treating their water, are they boiling their water wood or LPG or charcoal, how much time are they spending on collecting that fuel wood, how much time are they spending on boiling that, making that fire, and what are the disadvantages if you have to boil the water. If they're buying water, how much gallons are they using in a week? What's the cost of a gallon? How much are they spending in a year in order to make sure that their families have safe water? And then by going through all these challenges, we then ask if were aware of these challenges and the costs that they are making now on their drinking water, and if they want to learn about the solution. And that's then when we bring in the Nazava water filter, and then we address the health benefits, but also the savings. And it's really shocking that, for instance, in the Netherlands, households maybe pay around $7 to $10 per year just for their drinking water. Whereas in countries like Indonesia and Kenya, households are spending about $100 to $200 a year for their drinking water. Imagine spending one monthly wage for your water, which is the source of life, which you need on a day-to-day basis. Is really, really expensive. So once we are calculating how much they're spending on a yearly basis, and our filter lasts 3 years, the replacement filter needs to be replaced after 3 years. So then actually in 3 years, the costs become $300 to $600. As our filter only costs $30, we calculate the savings they can make and what they could use with their savings. And in Kenya, for instance, people can buy a cow with their savings. So that is basically how we overcome these challenges. But yeah, it has taken us some time to figure out like what is the right angle to convince people about the benefits, and also to find out like what is more important to people, the savings or their health. And the funny thing is that when we actually do the surveys amongst our customers, we ask them what is the biggest benefit of the filter, and they say it's convenience. It's the convenience of now having a free flow of safe water in their house. So yeah, we've gone through a lot of learnings to find out what's the right angle to touch the hearts and the minds of our customers.
Lisa, you said that this product was born in Indonesia. Is it available to global markets? Because I believe that there are lots of emerging economies. I'm from an emerging economy originally. And a product like this could have multiple use cases at work, at construction sites, at manufacturing units. Is this available to everybody?
Yeah, so our primary countries are Indonesia and Kenya. And then as we are a very impact-driven company, our main sales channels are through the microfinance institutes, the main national microfinance institutes in Indonesia and Kenya. But as I said before, like even tap water in Indonesia is contaminated and buying bottled water is really expensive. So there's also a lot of middle income and higher income households that really appreciate our product. So our products are also available through the main e-commerce sites in Indonesia and in Kenya. But then globally, of course, there's also a big crisis. There's 4.4 billion people globally that don't have access to treated water in their house. So our products are now also available through e-commerce sites in the Netherlands. We are at Alibaba. We are in Amazon in the US and the United States. And we work also with distributors in Ethiopia, Burkina Faso, Togo, Ukraine, Papua New Guinea, Vietnam, and many more. So our product is available in many other countries as well. And we're always at the lookout for distributors and partners in other countries because there are many water filters available in the world, but most of them come from the global north and their costs are really high. They cost like $100, $200. And we are one of the few household water filter companies that has also been tested by the WHO, that is manufactured and available in the global south.
Sorry. Nisa, can you also share how can people reach out to you if they were to collaborate with you to distribute it across a particular region or CSR of certain companies? How can they reach out to you?
Yes, they can find me on LinkedIn, Lieselotte.Heederik. They send me an email. It's Lisa, Lisa at nazava.com. Or they can go to our website, nazava.com, where we have a button for people that are interested to become a distributor. I'm also at Instagram, Lisa for Safe Water. Yeah, Google will guide you your way as well if these addresses are too complicated.
But is that something that you've done before with a particular company? Maybe a case study if you could share with us?
Yeah, so for instance, we partner for CSR. We partner with Aqua Danone. It's the main bottled water company in Indonesia. And we partner with them to provide safe drinking water to schools in Indonesia. Because most public schools in Indonesia, they don't provide drinking water to their students. As there's no water at school, the kids bring a bit of pocket money to school and then they buy very sugary drinks outside the school, which makes them actually more thirsty and also leads to obesity. And as I said before, the number of stunted children in Indonesia is really, really high compared to the GDP. So we worked with Aqua Danone to provide water filters in 500 schools. And we have done a baseline study and a survey. And it showed that the kids were drinking 5 times more water after they had the filter at the school. So they were 5 times better hydrated. And as a result, they could concentrate better and also improve their academic performance. And in Kenya, we have partnered with Reckitt. And Reckitt is the company behind Dettol for the soap and Durex and Strepsils. And we partnered with the Dettol brand to also provide safe drinking water to 16 schools in Kenya. So we do a lot of CSR projects, but that's mostly to ensure that schools also can provide safe drinking water to their students.
Thank you for sharing, Lisa. Lisa, your journey is absolutely impeccable. How you landed in Indonesia to now you've been in Indonesia for 2 decades now. Is that right?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, 18 years. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been in Indonesia for 18 years. For the people who want to create purpose-driven impact in their own way, what is one lesson your journey from Nazava that you could perhaps share with all of our listeners?
Yeah, so I the world is a bit in crisis now, and we have seen US aid collapse and whatnot. So I would really challenge people, if you want to do something good, try to come up with a revenue generating business model so that you're not depending too much on grants. And then the cash flow will basically tell if you have identified a product for which there is an actual demand or there's an actual need. From Nazava, we have taken on equity in a very early stage, and that really has helped us to get more brains and more wisdom within our company. And it really helped us from a very early stage to focus on the cash flow to make sure that we will be able to generate enough revenue to sustain the business in the long term. I think if you have that in place, that you can show that you're generating revenue and that you're able to cover the cost of your company, you will be able to attract further funding and generate more impact in the long term. And yeah, I never thought of myself becoming an entrepreneur. And I think you just need to try, just do it to see if something works or not. I mean, I've never envisioned myself becoming an entrepreneur and now talking in podcasts with you today. So yeah, you just start small with one step and then you take another step and another step, and then things will grow out from there.
Amazing. Thoroughly enjoyed learning more about you and Nazava today. Thank you so much for sharing, Lisa.